Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Operation 7570 on this Saturday morning. We've been out of the studio the last couple of weeks, but glad to be back live on this Saturday morning. Going to be a great weekend. Lots going on throughout Benton County, Camden, and surrounding area. But whatever you do on the weekend, hope you'll be safe and enjoy the weather that we're about to have. Going to get warm, so keep hydrated by all means. A little hotter than what we've experienced, but hey, it's the middle part of June, so that's what you would expect. Well, this morning in our studios, I have two lovely young guests that's going to be talking about an organization which was established a few years ago. This is the Benton County Prevention Coalition. I have Courtney Vance, who's been with the organization since its inception, I guess, a few years ago. Talk about her. And the young lady here to my right, as you would look on the camera, it'd be to the left if you're watching Facebook, Annabel Jenkins. She's recently been named as the Executive Director of the Benton County Prevention Coalition. So, girls, welcome to the program. You look so bright and, peppy on this Saturday morning, late in the morning. How do y'all do it? How do you look so good this morning?
I don't know. I just wake up like this.
Well, that's great. But great to have you in the studios, and we're going to talk about the Benton County Prevention Coalition, what it's all about. But before we do that, I always like some background information. I've had Courtney on the program before, but Courtney, let's start with you. What about some background?
So my name is Courtney Vance, and I have been with the Benton County Prevention Coalition since we had the name change. I started out as the Benton County Drug Alliance High School Advisor, and that was back in 2015, and really enjoy working with the high school youth. That's one of the things that I do. Full-time, I am the health science educator at Senator Frank P. Lashley Curran Technical Center, and throughout my years of being involved with the Drug Alliance, and then as we are now called the Benton County Prevention Coalition, I am now the president of the organization.
All right, we just have this brand new executive director who's going to do a great job. She's already done a great job in the few weeks she's been working with the group. Annabelle, tell me about your background.
Well, let's see. I just moved home after being gone for about 30 years. Moved back in 2020. I grew up in Camden. I have a degree in English and a degree in urban planning. I've spent a lot of time in Oklahoma and Hawaii, and I'm really thrilled to be home and to be part of the Prevention Coalition.
Well, that's great. That's great. Glad to have you. And I hear you can make a pretty mean milkshake. Is any truth to that?
Well, we did at the Sonic. We got the new ice cream machines, and it's been a huge hit.
Businesswoman in our community. We appreciate that aspect of what you do, but she wears many hats, as does Courtney as well. And Courtney, let's talk about the history of the Benton County Prevention Coalition. You touched that back when you become involved with it a few years ago, it was actually known as the Drug Alliance. So maybe when did the name change, and why the change in name?
Okay, so the Benton County Drug Alliance actually was formed back in 1997, and when it was formed, it was operated more like a coalition. It was made up of community leaders as well as the school. Times changed, people evolved, the program evolved, and it became more related to what we all recognized as being involved in the school. And so when I say school, I'm talking about 5th grade through 12th grade, and it was starting with like the DARE program, which we still have. I think it's now held within the 6th grades, and we really enjoy being able to connect with the youth because the whole purpose of the Drug Alliance was education in order for prevention. And we continued our programs. We really enjoyed, connecting with the students and getting the students' feedback, but we realized that we weren't making the impact that we could because we weren't involving all components of our community. We were just targeting one select age group. The age group was large, but it was still not everybody. And for prevention success, you have to have the grandparents, you have to have the aunts, you have to have the uncles, you have to have the mom and dad, you have to have the brothers and the sisters. And the only way to really impact the family dynamic is by going out in the community. So back in 2017, Officer Inman and I started discussing how exactly can we shift the Drug Alliance model back to what it originally started in 1997. And we started doing some discussions with surrounding communities as well as surrounding counties, and we discovered that the way that the Benton County Drug Alliance was actually set up in the beginning was mirroring what we now know as coalitions. And so we started in 2017 looking for sectors or our domains within Benton County. There's a total of 12 that we look at, and we wanted to find community support for this organization. We wanted to be able to know for sure that when we shifted from the school-based program to a community-based program, we would have the community backing us. And so in 2017, we started, gathering those names. We started, talking it among the other school programs about how do y'all feel about this change. We still want to have the school involvement, but we want to take it outside of the school programs. And so in 2019, we started the transformation from the Benton County Drug Alliance to the Benton County Prevention Coalition. 2019, we had a really fun and exciting year. We had the community kickoff event, which we held a mock car crash. We had the fairground booths filled up with different resources within the community to make those contacts with some of our citizens, because we have a lot of awesome resources found within Benton County, but not everybody knows that they're in Benton County. So the community-wide kickoff was our way of saying, hey, Benton County Prevention Coalition is here to help you, as well as to allow citizens to meet those different resources. Then we had a faith-based initiative on ways in which to handle the different types of abuses that do happen, and that includes mental substance abuse. Substance abuse has to be with both legal and illegal drugs, alcohol, and the byproducts of those materials. And then, unfortunately, COVID hit. And when COVID hit, we sort of kind of had to slow everything down because we were more concerned about making sure that the Benton County citizens were healthy. It was not so much about let's make sure that we're pushing education. Let's just make sure that our neighbor is doing okay. And because of the pandemic being the way it was, we sort of kind of slowed to a stall because we were more concerned about the health of Benton Countyans, not let's educate everybody about something that right now is not a major concern because we don't know what's going to happen the next day. So the pandemic is still around, but we're starting to see a return to semi-normalcy. So the Benton County Prevention Coalition is rearing back up, and we're going to start having more events around our community.
Yeah. Now, as the coalition has evolved in recent years with Annabel coming on board, is this the first time in your history that you've actually had a person termed as executive director?
It is the first time that we've actually had someone termed as the executive director. The way that the Drug Alliance is built is that you have an executive board. So we've always had a board, which is comprised of your president, vice president, secretary, and a treasurer. And because now that we have grown, as well as we've developed a few more items within our coalition, we've actually been able to bring on a director. And we're really excited for everything that Annabel has thought of, as well as the contributions she's already made to this point.
Well, Annabel, let's just go back here just a few weeks. You're still very new on the job. We appreciate that. But why did you want to get involved with the coalition? And when you found out, that they were going to do an executive director, why did you want to seek that position out?
I wanted to seek that position because I love Benton County. I love what the Benton County Prevention Coalition does. I believe in education. I feel like for the kind of problems that Courtney brought up, you've got your legal, illegal, drug abuse, alcohol, tobacco, and things like domestic violence. I feel like if you can get out ahead of these problems, if you can get people the information they need, they will often make better choices for themselves, which means their family as well, and by extension, the whole community.
And just in your few weeks on the job, what have you learned right now? What have you learned that you didn't know maybe 3 months ago?
Oh my goodness, so much, so much. Probably the biggest thing is just the fact that prevention is an entire field. I didn't even realize that before, and it's very exciting. In starting my job and working on funding opportunities and stuff like that, I've learned that prevention is a field. There's a certification process, and I will be going for that certification. It takes about a year, but there's so much to learn.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a learn every day, as Courtney can attest to. You're learning something new every day about this, but you've already been involved. You've already been involved with some fun things. Had a good one down at Thursday, down at the Eva Beach, but you've already had a lot of good fun things going on with the coalition.
Yes. Thursday was great. It was awesome. With the kids doing yoga, they were amazing. They were so attentive and excited to do it. They stuck with it too the whole way through. I was really impressed.
Courtney, I think we've touched on it, but maybe in your own words, if the coalition had like a mission statement, what would that be?
So we actually do have a mission statement, and to sum it up to be very easy, it's the Benton County Prevention Coalition is formed in order to make Benton County healthier. And we look at that both from the physical aspect, the mental aspect, the emotional aspect, and any other aspect that can be included with that. One of the things is social interaction, is what we're talking about. And to elaborate on what Annabel said, Thursday we had the yoga at the park, and it was for K through 6th grade students. And the reason we did it is because May was Mental Health Awareness Month. And one thing that we have learned due to multiple studies is that when the pandemic hit, the silent sufferers were our children, because they didn't really know what was happening. They just understood that everybody was scared. And because everybody was scared, they didn't really have an outlet, because parents didn't have an answer. I'm a parent, and when my children would ask me something, I didn't have the best answer, because everybody had a conflicting opinion, or it was too soon for me to really have a way to answer the questions that they had. And so one way that you can go about creating a calmer space for yourself is through yoga. Yoga looks at both the mental as well as the physical component of exercise, because when you're doing those stretches, you're having to think about, okay, how do I breathe? Because if you don't breathe during those stretches, you potentially hurt yourself or you pass out. Hopefully neither of those have ever happened to any of us if you've ever tried any of the yoga positions. And so we actually partnered with the 4-H Extension Office. Leslie Woods and Heather Smith came out and actually did a mindfulness as well as yoga positions. And before we started the event, we did do a pre-test, which was just basically a show of hands for our students that showed up. We had 50 students that showed up, and I can show the data if anybody's interested in it. But the beginning of it, they really didn't understand why we did yoga, or why, learning how to properly breathe was important, or what mindfulness was. But at the end of it, almost all of them were able to answer that question of why is it important for breathing, what is mindfulness, and how can you utilize these stretches in order to create a calming sensation or a calming, place for yourself. My daughter was one of the ones that actually did participate, and we had done yoga before, like just as a way to move our bodies, stretch our bodies. And she was like, oh, I know how to do this. I'm ready. And I was like, okay, which if you know my daughter, you'd have to understand that's just her attitude. Like, love her attitude. But even she learned something from that. She's like, Courtney, I didn't know what mindfulness was. I was like, oh, well, do you know now? She's like, yeah, it's being able to experience the moment but not overcome by the moment. And that's a reality for even all of us as adults. Even when we're living something, we need to be in control of it, not letting the moment control us. And so if we had just one student that figured out that when I get stressed or when I get angry, there are coping mechanisms that I can do, then we had a successful event. The fact that we walked out with almost 50 kids having that ability, I'm excited to see what's going to happen whenever they get into school situations where they are stressed or they are feeling anxious. Do they go back to those coping skills in order to handle everything that's happened?
Yeah. Well, of course, this joint project on Thursday with the coalition and TSU Extension, Heather and Crystal down there. Leslie did an outstanding job, but that is just one, Annabelle, just one of many organizations and groups that's involved with the coalition, and that's why we call it coalition. You've got several individuals and groups involved with this.
Yes, the local businesses, other nonprofits, faith-based organizations. Yeah.
And here's the thing I like about it as well. If I go to a particular organization that's involved with the coalition, I need help with a problem. If that particular organization cannot help me, it's a network, and they can, of course, refer me to the proper agency that I need to go to then.
Yes.
Yeah. Just elaborate a little bit more on that, about the network and how it works.
Okay. So, as a coalition, like you said, it's a network of different businesses, nonprofits, faith-based organizations, everything. And like you said, yes, if you are in need of a resource, we can definitely help you find the help that you need, whatever that is, to improve your health, your well-being.
And it goes without saying, when you work as a network, when you work as an entire group, much, much more can be accomplished than just one individual.
Absolutely, or even just one organization. Yeah.
And Annabelle touched on it, Courtney, but when we talk about the organizations, TSU Extension, Police Department, Sheriff's Department, of course, Health Department, of course, many more. I'm leaving somebody out and I don't mean to. But at the same time, there's churches, there's faith-based organizations very much involved with this.
We are extremely excited to say, like I said, the coalition is built on 12 sectors, and those 12 sectors encompass everything and then some within Benton County. We have faith-based organizations, we have teachers, we have school systems, we have private business owners, we have daycares, we have large companies that are going above and beyond to help us, meet our goals, which is education and prevention for our students, as well as the parents and grandparents and uncles and aunts. And so when we're sitting here talking about a coalition, what we want everyone to understand is that we are gatekeepers. Because a lot of times you may not know what kind of service you're needing or what kind of organization would be of assistance when you're talking about the struggles you're facing. But like you said, we're a network. We have a way of contacting this person to put you into contact with this person. And if you don't know where you need to go, we can help be that liaison. Because the reality of it is we have over 50 different resources found within Benton County that are here to help their citizens, but most of the time we don't know all what, as a Benton County citizen, you may not know what those resources are, but if you can get into contact with one person that does have that idea, then we can help solve those problems.
And we get our news out of Nashville, maybe Jackson, and we see the problems that the big cities are facing right now, but here in Benton County, Annabelle, Courtney, we're not immune from these things we see on the national or network news. We're not immune from these problems, are we?
No, we're not. We're not. No one is.
And it's hard to think. We used to think, well, as I was growing up, I used to think, well, that's happening in a big city. We don't need to worry about these things in Benton County. But, Courtney, we do.
Unfortunately, the statistics prove that, when it comes to substance abuse, when it comes to mental illness, when it comes to the concerns of the general health of an individual, it is no longer a big city issue. It's, branching out because everybody has some kind of struggle. I mean, we're not immune to it. If you were to poll 100 people, 100 people would say that they've had some kind of problem within the past year. Mm-hmm. And so, the statistic prove that it's no longer a big city issue. We can no longer ignore the fact that we're having issues in our little counties and our cities because it's everywhere.
Has the coalition, and going back to the days when it was Drug Alliance and your involvement, Courtney, has the coalition actually grown from where it was a few years ago?
Yes, definitely it's grown because, like I said, when I joined, it was predominantly just the school-based. And so we were seeing a lot of education, and I was getting a lot of good feedback from our students because they're like, oh my gosh, I got to talk to the DARE person today, and did you know you could do da-da-da? Yeah, I knew that. But now we're looking at an organization that has community involvement outside of just in the schools. And at first I'm sitting here going, okay, this is going to be a big task. I'm really concerned. But Benton County has done what Benton County has always done. It's pulled together. It's realized that there are ways to create solutions, and we're working together to make those solutions. And so we went from, the Benton County school system doing the Drug Alliance to now we've got a huge sector-based and a board-based organization that is getting to contact not only the youth of our community, but the older generations as well. And I do consider myself in that older generation because I'm no longer in high school. And another thing that, we asked for feedback from the parents that even were involved at our yoga event, and we did that not with like did you learn anything? It was just, hey, did you enjoy this event? Could you think of anything else? And the amount of parents, and we had some grandparents that were like, this is going to be useful at my house because I'm noticing that my child is, anxious, or I'm noticing my child is stressed. So I'm going to start, utilizing things that were taught today that they seem to enjoy in order to change the dynamics a little bit in my household. Because Leslie and Heather talked about how calming music can actually help get into a bedtime routine, which I have a 1-year-old at home, and let me tell you, bedtime routines are fun. And I say that not always being truthful, because he is still learning, he is still processing the world around him. And so when it comes time for him to go to bed, sometimes he's just a little overstimulated and he's not really ready to go to bed, and y'all met him and he's high energy and it's fun, but he needs his sleep. And so last Thursday night I laughed because my daughter that did it, her name's Natalie, she was like, I've got this, Courtney. You got what, Natalie? She goes, I got this. And so she proceeds to go over to her tablet and pulls up some of that relaxing music. She's like, now, Will, we're just going to breathe. And I'm sitting here going, I don't think he's going to listen to you. But it's okay. It was nice to see that she was applying what she had learned. And it may not have worked 100% for Will, but it did work really well for her. Because, like I said, within 30 minutes after she did her little stretches and she did her breathing, she went to her bedroom and she fell asleep. So, that in itself shows that just one individual learned, which if one individual learned, then we know we have multiple.
Well, time's rapidly getting away from us this morning on Operation 7570. Great discussion going on with these two young ladies about the coalition here in Benton County. But we need to take a break. We need to take a break for our good friends at Apex Bank. And we'll be back with the second portion of Operation 7570. Stay with us.
As summer heats up and the 4th of July approaches, Apex Bank is gearing up for another good old hometown celebration. This is Marcus Vine with Apex Bank. I want to invite you all to our free fish fry on Saturday, July the 2nd from 3 to 6 p.m. Come and enjoy an afternoon of live music, giveaways, and great food, all absolutely free. It's our 14th annual free fish fry, and we'll be looking for you on Saturday, July the 2nd. Happy Independence Day, everyone. Apex Bank, building stronger communities together. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hi folks, this is Gerald Johnson with Apex Bank, and we're proud to announce that it is time once again for our 14th annual 4th of July free fish fry. It's West Tennessee's largest free community celebration, hosted by your friends at Apex Bank. We want to personally invite you to come out and join us on Saturday, July the 2nd from 3 to 6 p.m. at Apex Bank on Highway 641 North. There will be something for all ages, so come out and enjoy an afternoon of good food, entertainment, carnival games, door prizes, cash giveaways, face paintings, a dunking booth, and much, much more. And it's all absolutely free. We will have live music this year from the Tisa Lynn Band and Glory Bound. So please join us on Saturday, July the 2nd, as we celebrate our freedoms. Have a safe and happy 4th of July, everyone, from Apex Bank of Camden, providing outstanding financial services and customer experiences since 1931. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
We're back with the second portion today of Operation 7570, talking about the great things that a group called the Benton County Prevention Coalition is doing throughout our entire area. We appreciate that, and we have two young ladies in the studios talking about their mission, their work. Annabel Jenkins, recently hired as the executive director. This is Courtney Vance, and you say you're president of the organization?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's great. That's great. May get you in just a moment to go through the other officers within the organization. But
Yes, sir.
Annabel, as we continue, we appreciate everything the coalition does in our community, and you know you do this as a public service. We're very appreciative, but at the same time, these things take monies. They take funding. So I know you're still new, but where does funding come from for coalition projects?
Well, funding comes from several sources. A lot of our funding can come through grants, also donations, and fundraising events.
Yeah. And as we talk about fundraising events, I guess there are things on the horizon that we can look forward to on down the road then. May not can give out too many details now, but I guess we got some things that are coming up maybe
We do.
down the road. Yeah. Okay.
We do. We have some good events coming up.
Don't want to let the cat out of the bag just yet, but I think, Courtney, we'll be pleased. And at this point, coming out of the pandemic still, we've already seen this with different organizations. People are ready to get out and have some fun.
People are ready to get out and have some fun. They're ready to have a semi-balance of what was normal beforehand, as well as we've really missed that social interaction. And so getting to go out and do different events where we can just socialize has definitely grown, and I'm excited to be able to see that return.
And as we talked about, we had to shelter. Some people still shelter. We understand that. But at the same time, if you're sheltering in your home and can't get out and interact with other people, hey, that works on your mental wellness as well.
It does. It really does. Everybody handles different situations in their own way, and what may be normal for me may not be normal for another person. So you've got to do what is best for you. You've got to do what you feel comfortable with. One thing that I will say has definitely helped is the advancement of technology that allows us to still connect with people without actually being where they are. Most of my meetings during the year of 2020 and part of 2021 were done Zoom, and I never realized how much that helped, but it did help me a whole lot because I was still making those connections with people without having to leave the safety of my own house. So one thing that we are hoping to do and hoping to see within our meetings is we're actually going to start holding those virtually as well. So, hybrid, I guess. So meaning you can be in person with us if you would like to, or you can join through Zoom as well.
And it's brought out some new terminology like Zoom, and you're in the health occupations field, of course, out with the kids at the school, and at the same time, just amazed me now, a lot of the clinics, a lot of the doctor's offices are going to what? Telehealth? Telehealth.
Yes,
wow. Telehealth, yeah.
Who would have thought that you could have, signed onto your computer or your cell phone and been like, hey, my throat's a little scratchy. Can you help me? And they can actually, they've got tools and they've got techniques in which to make that telehealth a success, as well as, goes back to the mental health as well. They're doing the telehealth for mental health. A lot of your clinical psychologists as well as psychiatrists are actually saying, hey, if you don't feel comfortable or if you can't get to me, here's my information and we can still see each other, which is amazing for so many different people.
I know we can't talk about individuals and problems individuals having. That's very private. I understand that. Mm-hmm. But, Courtney, in your involvement with the Prevention Coalition down through the years, are there success stories out there?
Oh, my
very
gosh.
Rewarding to see help that's been given to an individual?
There are so many success stories out there because, like Annabel said earlier, we have learned, not through the Benton County Prevention Coalition, but through multiple years of studies, is that when you educate an individual, they're able to make informed decisions. And just like if you were to go to the doctor's office and the doctor says, are you okay with me doing this? And then the doctor explains what all this is going to entail. That's called informed consent. I'm giving you my consent based on the information that I've been given. And coalitions do the exact same thing. We educate individuals in order for them to make the best decision for them. And so, like I said, I'm one of these individuals that if we produce an event, or if we put on a symposium or a talker, and I have just one person that comes up and says, hey, I took that information and I'm going to use it to the best of my ability, that's a success in my book, because that means that at least that one person is not going to become a statistic. And the reality is the statistics out there are terrifying. And I'm not talking about like one type of statistics. I'm talking about, the mental health statistic. I'm talking about the drug overdose. I'm talking about the opioid pandemic. Those are staggering. It's estimated, I think, that about 42% of drugs that are now purchased on the street have fentanyl in some form or fashion in them. Fentanyl is an extremely dangerous substance that, when taken into the body, it can kill. That's why you're seeing an increased amount of Narcan training. That's why you're seeing opioid abuse education. It's because when you get that information out, you can make the informed and educated decision to say thank you but no thanks. We also have had a Narcan training not Narcan, opioid and substance abuse training back in April. We had 40 individuals that came to that training, and through that training we had several that said we now have a better way to educate individuals that are potentially going to be using or have used. We also, during that training, they are trained in how to utilize the personal carry Narcan, which is the Narcan that you deliver intranasally, which is up the nose. We handed out 40 of those kits, and those kits went to individuals as well as volunteer fire departments. So most of our volunteer fire departments now will have the Narcan that can be easily and readily given to any individual that they suspect may be entering into an overdose. That is different than what a paramedic or an EMT carries, because the paramedic and EMT can actually administer doses of Narcan, whereas this type of Narcan that's intranasally is meter doses. So.
And again, there's success stories with emergency responders.
Yes.
What you're talking about. There's been success getting on the scene and administering
Yes.
right away, and there's been success stories in that regard.
I mean, we unfortunately have success stories in Benton County, and I say unfortunately because as a health professional myself, I never want to have to use those. I don't want that problem, but if I encounter an individual who I suspect is entering into an overdose, I'm glad that we do have the Narcan medication in order to try and save their life.
Annabel, I know you and Courtney, maybe some more, are going to a little conference. I call it a conference, maybe a seminar coming up this week to learn more about the coalition and meet with other coalition representatives, maybe from other counties. Give me some information about what you'll be attending this week and what you expect to come back from that with.
Well, we're going to the Tennessee Teen Institute. It's at UT Martin. It's 5 days?
It's going to be 6 days because we are leaving tomorrow.
Okay. Yes. So I'm really excited about it. I don't really know what all to expect. I haven't been before, so this will be a really great education for me. Courtney can tell you more about what goes on there.
Any teams going down there with you? Team representatives?
We are taking 11 teen representatives from Benton County, and I really want to stress that it's Benton County because one thing that I have been working on as president is coming up with events in ways to connect all of our county, not just focusing predominantly in Camden. So we have some teens that are coming from Big Sandy, we have some youth teens that are coming from Holiday, and then we have some that are coming from Camden as well. We do have 11 of these individuals, and they really don't know what to expect because they've never been either. But TTI has been around for years, and this is the first year that they've had over 500 youth registered for this event. We are leaving tomorrow. We will be there Sunday through Friday, and during that week, the teens are going to be educated and informed about different situations that they're engaging in, because what we have to understand is the problems that we as adults see aren't necessarily the same problems that a teenager or preteen is dealing with. And so I always love being involved with TTI as well as with our youth because it gives me a better understanding of what are they struggling with, what are they dealing with. So some topics that they are going to be educated about as well as getting to engage in will include distracted driving. A lot of them learn that distracted driving isn't just, I'm driving and talking to the person that's sitting next to me. It includes unfortunately watching Netflix while driving, texting while driving, eating while driving. Then there's also falling asleep at the wheel. That's also viewed as distracted driving because you're not able to put all of the attention that you need to. And then, of course, they do discuss how the amount of occupants in your vehicle do actually interfere with your ability to pay attention. Then they're going to have speakers that have overcome substance abuse or mental illness. We do discuss suicide prevention. We have seen since COVID, we've seen an influx of teens that unfortunately are taking their lives, and sadly we've had that happen close to our community as well as in our community the past 2 years. And then they're also going to be dealing with, what it means to give consent on multiple levels, because a lot of times we just assume that the kids know what we as adults know, but the reality of it is there's so much more that we as adults have an understanding of that they've never experienced or they've never dealt with. And so they get to be taught, how do you go about questioning something that you're not 100% sure about so that you're able to be informed. It is a camp like no other. I have been involved in cheer camps, 4-H camps, church camps, and I have to say that out of all of the camps that I've gone to, TTI is the hardest for me to explain because it's like no other camp, but it's the best camp I've ever attended. So if I have to sum it up in one sentence, the way I describe TTI is it's an empowerment camp for teens.
The way to explain it is that it's unexplainable.
Exactly.
Well, I want to have you girls back here in a few weeks after you come back with some great news from TTI camp, and very important, but at the same time, Annabelle, it's important to the preteens to, let them know, educate them on, some things they're going to be dealing with as they, get older and older down through the years, and
Absolutely.
some peer pressure type things. That's most important too, isn't it?
Yes, it is very important.
Who can get involved? Who can get involved with the coalition right now?
Anyone.
Okay.
Anyone can get involved. Everyone has something to contribute.
Do you have regular meeting days scheduled or Facebook
We
page
do.
where you find out more? Okay.
We do. Our meetings are usually held the second Thursday of the month. We have started having our meetings at the Hyperion X, their building. They have a beautiful conference room that they have graciously allowed us to use. So we can accommodate quite a few people inside, and as Courtney said, also they can join. They'll be able to join us virtually.
And they are already in the nearly 2 years that they've been a part of our community. They're getting involved with so many things out there, and we're very appreciative of them.
Yes, absolutely.
Courtney, a few minutes ago, we talked about the fact you were president. What about the list of all the officers right now? I know you don't have the list there, but go ahead.
So our executive board, like I said, it is made up of the president, vice president, treasurer, and secretary. Our president is myself. Then our vice president is Nikki Green. She does so much for the town of Camden as well as Benton County itself. Our secretary is Miss Crystal Floyd, who is involved with the UT-TSC extension, probably messed that up, but the TSU extension program. She actually goes into the school and does like the 4-H lessons, as well as she's working with some of the high school areas in order to start the 4-H programs back up. Then you have our treasurer, which is Miss Donna Moore, and she is the coordinator for student health for the school, as well as she is a registered nurse. And then we do have a few other executive members. One of those is Nikki Simcoe. She is a RAP agent for Benton County and a lot of the surrounding counties as well.
Yeah. So as we look forward on down the road, there'll be a lot of projects coming up, and even when these individuals, I think RAP has another big program coming up this fall. We'll get more information from Nikki on that. But even if it's an individual organization project, I know the coalition backs these individual organizations 100%.
We do. We are so excited to be able to partner with RAP in order to host the RAP Jam. That's going to be the first week of October. I don't have a lot of event details right now, short of the fact that it's the first weekend of October, because we're just now starting to plan it with Nikki. But now I will guarantee you, Nikki will be more than willing to come and talk about it, because it is such a phenomenal day for them, as well as it's a fun event for everybody in the county. We also have partnered with the UT program, and we also have some other things coming down the pipeline that we are excited to be hosting and putting on. One of those is ACE training. We're going to be releasing some more information about that, but ACE stands for Acute Childhood Experiences, and it allows us to better understand how past events impact our future.
Okay. Well, girls, I appreciate you both being here today. It's been a most informative discussion, and when you get back from what you're going to this coming week, we'll have you both back in a few weeks as well to talk about that. I think there's going to be some great news coming out of that. That will benefit Benton County. So, Annabelle, what are we missing? What else would you like to stress in our closing moments this morning, young lady?
Oh my goodness. I'm on the spot. I don't know. I think we've covered a lot. And I'm just excited to be involved.
And in case anybody wants to get involved, contact, go to the Facebook page, contact you as an individual. And, there's room for everybody to be involved with this organization at all ages.
Absolutely.
And because our board and our sectors are just snapshots of what's going on in our community as well as in the county, if you have an event or if you have an idea or you have a dream of something you would like to be seen in Benton County or educate, please by all means reach out to us. You can reach out to us through our Facebook page, which is the Benton County Prevention Coalition. There's 3 individuals that are constantly watching and monitoring that site, so we can easily respond back to you if you message us. Another way is to email us. So our email is bentoncountypc@gmail.com, and then you can definitely direct message myself. I'm Courtney Vance on Facebook, or you can find Annabel Jenkins on Facebook as well.
Yeah, and there's just there's connections, there's link ups to a whole lot of organizations that can help you with many, many issues out there.
Yes, we are so excited to be in Benton County. We're so excited to have Annabel on board, and we are here to help the Benton County citizens. So if there's something that's going on that we're not necessarily seeing, let us know, because we are more than willing to meet in order to prevent or educate the community on something.
And we do things, we want to do things our way then, but do you get ideas from other county coalitions from time to time to implement something here? That's great. Let's do it here in Benton County.
Yes, we do. In fact, one of the things that I am researching right now, so like I said, one thing that we've noticed from the pandemic is that our youth don't really know how to handle stressors because it's scary. But Weakley County actually held a day of mental education for their high school students, and within that day they had different things that different coping techniques. They had different educational pamphlets that they handed out, and studies have proven that when you're looking at the freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year, the most stressful is that junior year. And I do see that within my high school students, because during the junior year, that's when, for whatever reason, it starts clicking that their freshman and sophomore year have impacted their GPA, and that GPA matters for when they're applying for colleges. And then it's also the year that they're hit with their ACTs or SATs or the ASVAB, which is for military. And so when they start thinking about, oh my gosh, I have one more year of high school, and then I'm supposed to know what I'm supposed to be doing, and then this is going to impact this, they start getting overwhelmed. They start having that mental crunch that we've all felt. And so that's one of the things that I'm going to steal from Weakley County, is I'm going to make it for our students, because our students need that information as well.
Well, again, Courtney and Annabelle, thank you so much for giving up some of your Saturday morning to be with us. I really, really appreciate it. And again, we'll have you back very soon to talk more about what you're going to learn this week. Mm-hmm. And even if you learn some exciting news before we get back to have you on Operation 757, be sure to share that with us.
We will.
Okay?
Please watch our Benton County Prevention Facebook page. I will be posting like crazy next week. And we are so excited to be able to come back. But we're going to bring some of our youth members as well, so that they can share what they learned.
Yes, we'll certainly look forward to that. Well, thank you again, girls. Have a great rest of the weekend, a good week down at UT Martin. And thanks to our listeners and our watchers this morning on Operation 7570, brought your way by Apex Bank. Stay tuned next for Luke with the Bargain Auction. We'll see you next Saturday morning.
As summer heats up and the 4th of July approaches, Apex Bank